Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we explore the journeys of visionary entrepreneurs and the strategies driving their businesses forward. I'm your host, Jay Encarnacion, and in each episode, we uncover the stories behind innovative ventures, the challenges they face, and the plans shaping their future. Today, we're excited to have Tom McKeown, co-founder of ImpactLine Digital. Based in Austin, Texas, Tom brings over 20 years of enterprise sales experience and a passion for endurance sports to his marketing agency, which he runs alongside his wife, Jessica. Founded to empower wellness brands through data-driven strategies, ImpactLine Digital is redefining how health-focused businesses grow with services like SEO, influencer marketing, and social media management. We'll be diving into his founding story, how his agency delivers results for clients, and his vision for scaling this impact-driven venture. So with that being said, let's dive right into it. Tom, welcome to Founders Future.
Thanks, Jay. Appreciate it. And thanks for the very, very thorough, humbling intro there.
Absolutely. Well deserved and incredible background that you have, and truly an honor to have you on the show today, Tom. So, if we could start for our listeners at the top, if you could take us back to the beginning and talk about what specific problem in the wellness marketing landscape really inspired you and Jessica to start Impact Line Digital.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. So when we talk about wellness, what we're talking about is a pretty broad space, right? So anything from hard post-operational clinics where patients recover all the way going to yoga studios and gyms. So wellness is a pretty big space. But what we realized was whether you are a regenerative medicine clinic or a yoga studio or a biohacking lab, every single business has the same problem. And that, of course, is wanting to get more patients, more customers, more revenue in the door, especially now it's a very crowded market, right? And most of the folks running these businesses, they really have two things in common, which really bode well with what we do. One is the fact that they are absolutely passionate about changing humanity and changing their community, right? Yes, everybody wants some nice coin and to generate revenue, but at the end of the day, that's their secondary motive and objective, right? But because of that, and this ties into the second thing, is that a lot of these people don't have the business skills and experience to really grow their businesses the right way, and frankly, to not know when they are or are not being taken advantage of a lot of other marketers and other vendors, right? So that's really where we come in.
I love it. I absolutely love that. So definitely want to just dive in and get into the nuts and bolts of what you're doing, because it's clear as day that this can impact so many. And a bunch of our listeners may want to come and work with you after hearing the episode and what you're offering here. So if you could walk us through here, Tom, how you're really generating revenue today. So walk us through the core offer or the core offers that you have here and how it's structured for your clients. And also if you could let us in on who your ideal client is that you like to work with.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So our ideal client really, actually, no. So really what we do is our philosophy is this. So yes, we are a full service marketing agency for the health and wellness space. However, our core philosophy is you don't need marketing, you need momentum. And what does that mean? Marketing is a job, right? You can go on any number of these third-party sites. You can go to any local agency where you live in your city and hire people to simply quote unquote do the work. And they might do a pretty decent job. The issue is how many people have you talked to, Jay, or anybody else out there listening that's hired a marketer and gotten burned? And often it's for one of two things. One is that people hiring, right? So these wellness businesses, they think they need something different than they actually do. And it's because they don't really understand growth and revenue growth. So for example, you might think that you need more traffic directed to your website when in reality what you need is an entire brand overhaul. If you don't have experience in these space or with these things, you might not know that, right? If you think that your dishwasher might need to be fixed because it's not working, but in reality, a plumber is going to come in and tell you that it's actually a water pressure problem, right? You're not going to know that unless you're working with a professional. Most marketers are not going to tell you this up front. They simply want to collect the money and run, right? And so what we say is we need to help be your revenue partner, not just your marketing partner. And that's why marketing itself really doesn't cut it. You need momentum, right? What what is the strategy that's going to bring in the most amount of traffic that's going to convert to customers as soon as possible to give you that spark, that match spark to help that fire light your business. And that's what momentum is. And that's a strategy that we're going to deploy. Our ideal customer is someone with an already proven existing business model that they've got set up, but they just need the wheels greased more than they do because they just don't know how to grow for many different reasons. And really, what we're seeing now is a huge uptick because of a lot going on in the world right now in the longevity space, right? So think about biohackers, ozone-based clinics, regenerative medicine, right? These are people that genuinely want to change the world and the way that we're treating our bodies, not just so you could live longer, but so you can live longer better, right? It's great that you could live till 80, 90, 100 years old, but if you're not really living past 60, there's a problem, right? How do we get you still going on that morning jog all the way until your 90s, right? That's what all of our clients say. They're passionate about helping humanity, and that's who we help grow their business.
Absolutely incredible. So on that front, you have a phenomenal offer. You're helping the health and wellness space there. Walk us through what channels have been most effective for you. I know this is something you help your clients with. What's been most effective for you on the acquisition side? How are you bringing in clients consistently into ImpactLine Digital? What channels have been most effective for you there, Tom?
Yeah, and it's really a great question. And the simple answer is we do a lot of what you're doing, Jay. And that is if you genuinely want to build from being in enterprise sales and marketing for 2 decades, I could tell you have really three different types of business development, right? Or three different buckets, right? You have your short, your mid, and your long-term pipeline, right? The biggest mistake we see people making is focusing on too many long-term pipeline activities up front, right? And then what happens? 2 weeks later, they come back to you and say, I don't get it. You told me to post on LinkedIn every day and nothing's happening, right? They're not adequately segmenting their activities for short and midterm. Like what like the length of your sales cycle is going to be relative to your business. In the health and wellness space, if you can bring in a customer within a month, that's going to be short term. I would say between 1 to say 3 to 4 months, that's going to be midterm. Anything beyond that's long term. So you always want to work on that long term pipe with social, with emails, right? With doing events. But honestly, and here's our hack, if you want to take marketing seriously and build momentum seriously, what you need to do to build that short-term pipeline is build your own platform. So we have something that we call the ATX Wellness Passport, and it effectively is a publication, right? So similar to your podcast. And what we're doing is we're going around and we're building this publication. It's fully complimentary, so fully free, of all the wellness providers in the Austin area. And now we're doing one for the state of Texas. Who knows, maybe national at some point. And what we say is this, look, come and be a part of this publication. We'll put your logo, we will put your marketing and branding assets, we'll put your promos of whatever offers that you want to give right to the public. And then for a select few of those people, we'll actually offer to write an article on them for our newsletter. People come back and they say, why is it free? I get all these people coming to me every day saying, oh, it's going to cost 10 grand or 20 grand or whatever. For us, it's networking, right? The reason why we're doing it is because you didn't know who I was until I approached you, did you?
Right.
Now you do. And now, by me interviewing you, the same way you're interviewing me, now you see how I work. Now you see how I operate. You realize that I'm a nice guy, I'm professional, I operate ethically, just like you, Jay. So now on the back end, when I say, hey, by the way, we're a digital marketing agency, we're happy to offer you a complimentary free audit, which really just means we give them like a free analysis and evaluation of their Google organic traffic, their social media posture, their overall brand, right? More than 50% of the time, they're going to say yes. And then at that point, so that's really what we do. It's a great way to reduce your ad spend. We see way too many wellness businesses having just an uncontrollable ad spend. Ads are great if you know what you're doing, if you have a proven A/B tested formula for
Right.
specific keywords that hasn't gotten out of control, to have a positive return on ad spend. Most businesses don't have that and they want to just getting absolutely hosed, right? Search engine optimization, while absolutely necessary to build your foundation, takes a long time. People don't want
Yes.
to wait 6 months, a year, dealing with backlinks and meta tags and meta descriptions and all this. It's really important. You should absolutely do it, right? But a lot of people want clients now. So our solution, how we build our business, like you can build yours, build your own platform and start talking to people.
I love it. I love it. So with that, obviously a phenomenal tool there, Tom, to really drive that organic traffic coming towards you. Are there any other channels that you're utilizing for a bit more predictability on that front? Because obviously you can continue to bring in and grow that community there, but that will take time, of course. Are there any other channels that you see are effective for those leads coming in for you guys?
We do a lot of events. We have a networking group here in Austin, Texas called Hey ATX. It's primarily hosted out of Facebook. That's just where it got started. We do have a LinkedIn, we do have an Instagram as well. We have a combination of in-person and virtual events. As a matter of fact, actually, this Thursday, July 3rd, we're having a pretty big boat party right on the lake here in Austin. It is a sober cruise for the wellness community. So there'll be a lot of wellness businesses, there'll be wellness like enthusiasts, we'll have some vendors, some sponsors, the whole thing. We'll have some performances and then have a lot of mocktails. Events are absolutely key, especially in today's digital age. People are just tired of looking at blue light screens and all their interaction being on screens. They want to get out, meet people. So we do that as well. We throw a lot of different events. You could do them virtually. So pick a specific topic, get an expert in that space, offer to showcase them, and then you're in charge of filling the seats, right? Whether you can or want to charge or not, that's up to you. I think Eventbrite is a very useful tool. Once you host a certain number of events, your brand will be optimized by the Eventbrite algorithm. You'll have a lot more people get exposed to every event you post. I have people coming to me all the time and they say, "Oh, I'd love to do an event. Oh, I'd love to do a like a banquet or something, but we just don't have the money." And I'm just like, "You don't need the money. Start selling tickets. Start selling tickets. Let Eventbrite keep that money. If you have to use some credit cards for some costs or whatever, and then as soon as it's time to pay, you just have Eventbrite pay. You don't have to pay anything in pocket,
Mm.
or you get some vendors or some sponsors."
Incredible. So on that note, I mean, having it nailed down like you do, what does that sales process actually look like? Or is it just you and Jessica running the show, or are you doing all the sales, or do you have a sales team, marketing team on that front? What does that process look like behind the operation there?
Yeah, honestly, we're looking to hire more salespeople right now. We do have one who is our local community director here in Austin. She does a fantastic job here in the Austin market, but we're looking to hire people nationally who could really help us in different markets. So we're looking for that. We do have a fantastic marketing team. And let me tell you, like, you can run a marketing team on a pretty low budget. There's some fantastic talent overseas. If you don't know what you're doing, meaning you don't really understand the flow of everything and you don't understand the concept that marketing is really a job, what you need for growth is momentum. Like I said, if you don't understand that, you probably do want to work with a professional or an agency first to get the flow. But as far as the actual tasks, somebody to run your design or your ads, there's some great talent overseas. So really anybody can get started. So we do have some of that talent as well.
I love that. And I mean, it completely up to you. Do you have any recommendations on where the listeners can go for kind of the best overseas talent to look into that?
It really depends on what you need. There of course, are going to be the standard Upworks of the world, right? There's so many of these different third-party sites now. It really depends on what you're looking for. And then on LinkedIn, you can just find a tremendous amount of talent. One thing I will say is you're starting to see a migration of a lot of talent from Asia, or sorry, talent being hired rather from Asia to the Americas, meaning Mexico and the Central America, because of the time zone. So that's something I think it's gotten to the point where people are willing to pay just a little bit more, still not US based prices, but just a little bit more to have talent that's going to be 1 or 2 hours off or even the same time zone.
Love it. I love it. So with that, it sounds like a bottleneck that you're going through right now is going to be more on that sales side, bringing on some A
Mhm.
player salespeople for you, maybe setters and closers to really continue to grow and scale what you're doing here. Are there anything else on the bottleneck side that you're thinking about, or is that kind of the main one you're trying to break through right now?
Yeah, I think the biggest bottleneck we face, because what's different about us is we're just very well. We're very honest about everything that we do. Like I told you, when we contact people to interview them to be part of our publication, they ask why we're doing it, and we tell them exactly why. It's a networking tool for us. You now know who we are. And now, once you know who you are, there's a certain degree of trust, right? And then that's how we get clients. So we're very open and honest about everything that we do. And I think the biggest challenge is there is such a marketplace of noise out
Mm,
there with a lot of dishonesty. We work hands-on, my wife and I. Really, Jessica, she's the marketing maven, right?
yep,
But I'm her support mechanism. We work personally on every single account,
amazing.
right? So yes, we have a team that helps us, but we don't just farm it off to somebody else and say see ya and collect payment. So
Right.
it's trying to communicate that value proposition through all the noise out there. There's just a lot of, let's say, illegitimate and misleading promises. I'm sure you've seen, Jay,
Oh,
you go
yeah.
on Instagram or LinkedIn and you see these ads saying we don't like you don't pay if we don't get clients, and then you get on the phone and realize what they meant to say was you don't pay after you pay some huge upfront fee. So it's hard to not be coupled with a lot of that misleading noise. So you have to work harder and face that resistance, but that's all a part of the game, right?
Absolutely. So I do have one more question for you before going into the lightning round here, Tom. It's been incredible getting to pick your brain a bit here. I know the listeners are loving the episode so far. For this side, what are you focused on here for the rest of 2025? I can't believe it's already July, first and foremost. But for the rest of 25, going into 2026, what is the major priorities that you're locked in on for that growth and scale and that success?
Sure. Taking the lessons that we've learned in the first half of the year, the first 6 months of the year, and then really trying to plug any holes and trying to optimize our performance, right? Taking any of the challenges that we faced and wear them as battle scars to say, okay, this is where we know we can improve and really have a dominant and killer second half of 2026. And for us, they'd be things like how to master, say, scalability, right? While still giving that white glove service and that personal attention to each client. It's very important for us. Things like further honing in on our ideal client. We have our ideal client, but I think every few months that go by, we realize that we have to niche down even more. Like I said, we're really focusing on the longevity space. So regenerative medicine clinics, longevity and biohacking studios that offer such services like ozone and whole cat. So those types of special longevity treatments are really our core bread and butter. But it getting to that point that was our specialty, that was not an overnight process. That takes lots of time and it takes while going through the majority of our clients are the most wonderful people in the world that we love working with. But of course, there's always going to be a few that are not ideal, right? Good people, but just not an ideal fit. And perhaps a different marketing agency would be a better fit for them. But you have to just go through the motions, right? And learn and live with this.
Love it. Absolutely love that. So with that right there, I want to take us into the lightning round. Just two more questions for you before we wrap up the show here, Tom. And the first one's going to be more on the tool or resource side. So whether it's an AI tool, a strategy from your past, what's been the biggest game changer for ImpactLine Digital this far on that front?
Ooh. So on the strategy side, I think it's just building your own platform.
Yeah.
Like I said, I see all these different people out there go still. And look, I'm not throwing shade at any networking event or any networking organization. There are many great ones. But there's a lot of people out there that are just slamming their head on the table, going to every networking event in town. And I'm just like, build your own platform. You can control who you talk to, and you can build respect with people and give people what they want, which is a voice. So that's number one. And on the tool side, a tool called Gamma, GAMMA.ai. Let me tell you, I worked for multiple software companies for many years. One of the biggest challenges we had, Jay, was we never had a proposal tool. I think at one company we did, but at all the others, it was like out of all the tens of thousands of dollars in software subs they spend every year, hundreds of thousands,
Mm,
they would always complain about how these proposal builders were too expensive and weren't
yeah.
worth the money, right? Now you have AI tools like Gamma that literally cost $10 a month per seat that can build you a better PowerPoint proposal or deck than any of these tools that used to charge 5K a month per seat 5 years
Mm.
ago could. So just to go to show you the revolution that we're in right now, just incredible.
Absolutely amazing on that front. And then just to finish us off here, Tom, what is the best piece of advice that you could offer to the listeners tuning in? Just heard your incredible journey and everything that you and Jessica are doing with ImpactLine Digital. What can you leave them with before we wrap up the show today?
Yeah, I would say have faith and be confident in yourself to get the job done. And just coming from me, I was a quota carrying account executive for a very long time, and I was always afraid to start my own business.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, if you are an AE and you're like, I'm really good. I've made President's Club many times, I've gotten promoted, but I just can't seem to get to that next level, or it's like I'm just tired of having to reset every 90 days.
Quarter.
You're really good at what you do. You absolutely, as an AE, you can start your own business. Try to
Mhm.
find somebody. I'm fortunate because I have my wife who's a master marketer. Find somebody who is really good at what they do, but just they don't have the biz dev or sales chops like you do. Form that partnership. I'm telling you, you will make it work.
Yeah, I absolutely love that and phenomenal advice to wrap up the show. So with that, that is going to wrap up another inspiring episode of Founders Future and Tom. Truly cannot thank you enough. So glad that we were able to do the episode. I know there was some cute confusion in the last time we met, but so happy to have you on and have a phenomenal conversation. So truly thank you for sharing the journey and the insights with us today. And to our listeners, if you enjoyed this episode, which I know so many of you have, don't forget to subscribe to Founders Future wherever you get your favorite podcast. And you can also learn more about ImpactLine Digital at impactlinedigital.com, where they offer a complimentary ImpactLine report. And follow Tom on LinkedIn at linkedin.com/in/Tom McKeown. And McKeown is spelled McKeown. For more resources and insights, you can visit us at closers.io, where we specialize in helping ventures accelerate their growth through trained appointment setters and world-class marketing systems. Until then, keep climbing, and we will see you on the next one.